I wanted to focus on the topic, which is our mental health connected to the planets? How are we going to live? What is the environment going to be like? And so I wanted to bring all these in because, as well as Deepak, because I love the article that you wrote, I think it was last Sunday, with Rudolf Tanzi about the planetary biome. And I kind of want to dive into this very, very quickly and deep. So I believe that if we're triggered into being truly awakened to our own mental health, that then pushes us and triggers us into our environmental well-being, then I think we might have a chance of creating a beautiful world for the future. So please, Deepak, if you could just slow.
Physical bodies are the recycling of that biosphere that we call planet Earth. High genetic information on this planet. So from these genes, which are present in microorganisms, you get plants. The information that is these living organisms then have perceptual. Putting it in your body, you're killing life of the microorganisms that are responsible for your life and the life of every other organism in our planet. So climate change, changing weather patterns, but in the long term, unless we address the context in which these mutations occur and these diseases, then we won't have a solution. Right now, this situation is so serious that we're not looking at the planetary biome. It's so serious that not an answer that I can give.
No, but this is very interesting. Thank you, Deepak, because I think that really sets the tone to this conversation and why it's so important. We have a climate crisis. Robert's a new friend of ours. He's part of a new community. He's just birthed this incredible podcast called The Earth Locker. And as well as being a natural storyteller, like here, obviously, you know, our warrior monk, all about resilience, all about how do we build resilience so that we can really adapt to the environment. But how do we do that in a way that the environment and us become one, right? So Punacha, let's start with Punacha. How do you feel that we can find or tackling this?
Thank you, Gabriella. First of all, I'm really delighted to have this conversation. That's it. If I tell you the story, you guys are storytellers. I come from a small part of India called Coorg. And let's say they're supporting this conversation on the internet in the support center. They're not able to do their jobs. And if you are calling in for help on a helpline, you're going to be stressed. So what I'm saying is that there are these discrete events happening all over the world, but all doing these different things. What we need to do is bring it all together into an operating system and a model where people get real-time feedback, right? If I'm not feeling well, I get the immediate feedback. So I need, okay, my God, this is how the world, the planet will lead to a behavior change, right? So climate change conversation and isolation is not sufficient if it does not lead to behavior change. If I need to lead to behavior change, I need to understand what's a person's motivation. I need to understand his or her ability, and then I need to trigger the behavior. So one of the things which I'm excited about is to really take what Deepak is talking about, a planetary biome, and then it's not going to work. Like Deepak can tell you, no amount of cigarette smoking is injurious to health is going to get people to stop smoking.
Yeah, that's great. That's so interesting. I love that because so Rob, just feel free to what do you think the narrative? What do you think we need to do? You know, you're connecting to your audience differently. You know that there's a responsibility. What do you think we need to do more that, for example, we had that conversation this morning, like, hey, you went to the grocery store and it was a bulk, sustainable store and you're like so happy and you need to transmit the happiness of being enchanted by this world, meaning you want to save the world, not meaning like a hero, but by just being responsible.
I think meditation was a big part of me arriving at this point and being very honored to be in a virtual room with all of you lovely people. Meditation, I think, brought to light a lot of the unconscious anxieties that I felt through day to day. And the one that we're referring to is the kind of low hum anxiety of just going into a shop, you know. And these days, you know, I try and sort of, like everybody, manage anxiety and manage compassion and manage everything that's going on. But sometimes you look at a store here, I'm in London here, and it feels like a future landfill, because 90-something% of the stuff is not very upcyclable. You know, I was listening to this this lovely podcast about the plastic mermaid, she's called. And she was talking about how, you know, products, if they've been in the food chain, you know, like a pack of crisps or whatever, anything that has any organic material in it cannot be reused because it's not safe. You know, you can't put that back into the food supply chain. So these, you know, you just go past thousands and thousands of shops full of plastic. So what we were talking about earlier on was having, I think, gone through the journey of, or be sort of at the start of the journey of meditation, has led me to confront some of those more, some of the more unconscious anxieties that I had going on. And one of them was, what's my life costing to the planet on a daily basis? What am I using? What am I consuming that's going in a bin, that's going in a truck, so that I never have to think about it again? And to be honest, it was anxiety enough just to make the change, to start sort of reducing the cost of my life on the planet. And like today and yesterday, visiting, doing my shop in plastic-free supermarkets around London, which is a big city privilege. It's not something that everybody has the privilege of access to. I mean, I know they speak about food deserts in places like USA where, you know, there's nothing of any nutrition for miles and miles and miles around that you can get. You know, no organic vegetables and nothing plastic free, you know. So these are luxuries that hopefully, if we give lots of support to, they'll grow and spread quickly, because the sort of, you know, for me, it rings so true what Deepak and Punacha are saying, because everything, fixing the gut, fixing literally what's in us, fixes the planet, I really think. And we were talking about when we had Deepak, when we had you on the podcast a week and a half ago, we were talking about the variety in diet, essentially eating and consuming all of the manifestations of the photons, particles of light from the sun, and all of the colors that they manifest into. So having all of the colors of the rainbow in your diet, and essentially re-enriching the microbiome in order to re-enrich the nutrients of the planet, and so on and so forth. So I really think, like for me, it took 32 years and a fair whack of meditation before that to get to the place where I'm going, no, I'm going to instill some nice local changes in my own life and just be that, and stop just tolerating the thorn in the base of my foot. You know what I mean? And I think that's what modern living with convenience feels like. It feels like they've taken what sustains us and turned it into poison for the planet. And we've all gone, well, it's convenient. You know, we can get it delivered to our front door anytime we like, wrapped in 10 sheets of plastic, and go, well, I've had my dinner, throw it in the bin, don't think about it. But do you not think about it? Of course you do. You know, a part of you, the unconscious part of you, is thinking of it, and is thinking of it accumulatively. And it's terrifying, of course, through social media and places, and through brilliant charitable foundations and so on. We're seeing the effect. We have access to the images of the effect of what the degradation of our microbiome through convenience and the supply chain and everything is doing to the world. Giant plastic islands in the sea, the size of Texas, you know, of plastic that cannot be removed, that has been broken down to the same size as phytoplankton, you know. And it's really, really terrible, because we are the time which has brought this catastrophe on, the little pale blue dot, this little pocket of air that we call planet Earth. And so, you know, I must say the level of satisfaction and smugness and just glowing benevolence that I feel for just spending a few days making a few small changes and removing plastic from my everyday life. So if I get my food and my cosmetics and my cleaning products And maybe my clothes, if I bought vintage, if I got everything down to sort of as net close to zero as I can possibly get, it just gives you such a surge of personal satisfaction, which replaces that low hum of anxiety that was there before, because you're not contributing to the apocalyptic disaster that we find ourselves in, you know? So that's kind of what was the beginning of the Earthlocker podcast, or that was part of it. And that was the sort of the beginning of a path that basically meant meeting you lovely people.
My first attempt is called, well, the working title, now I'm probably going to have to stick to it now that I'm announcing it, but it's My Mental Hygiene, a Toolkit to Human, the abyss of what it is. And you go into the understanding that pain is an illusion through meditation. You start seeing things as they are. You start seeing the display of nature, of the display of consciousness. And then all of a sudden, you become care. You become the care that you were praying about when you were a kid. You want to save the world, or you become the world. You become the earth. The earth is in your womb. Well, I'm a woman, I can say that, yeah. But the earth becomes our womb, and I suppose, but then also for us all, the world experiencing its own suicide, the planet, the environment.
Yeah, right now it seems like humanity is on a collective action. We now know that an inflamed biology or an inflamed ecosystem, it doesn't matter, they're the same thing. The ecosystem is recycling through our body, and so the earth is recycling through our body. One of the problems in the reductionist sciences is that we think in terms of separate stars. There are bugs, there are bees, there are trees, and all of that, rocks. This is how it appears. This is our experience of perception, separation. So we are looking at the world through separations, through the separate perceptual experience that the rivers and waters and the ocean and the clouds and the rainbows and the puddles and the whirlpools and the rivulets, everything that is water on earth. We look, when we look at other planets for life, we look for water.